Today's lesson is 3.2, Even and Odd Number Patterns. The objective is to guide exploration of even and odd number patterns. Our learning target is I can decide if a number is even or odd. I've created a table here to help us with our work. We're going to decide if a number is all in pairs or is not all in pairs. Here, I have two friends. Is 2 a pair? You're right, 2 is a pair. It's a pair because they can be made into a group. A pair can also be known as 2. What about the number 3? Is the number 3 all in pairs or is it not? You're right, 3 is not all in pairs. I see one pair and one that is all alone. What about the number 4? You're right. The number 4 is all in pairs. Right now I see 2 pairs. So I'm going to put the number 4 on that part of our table. How about the number 5? I'm noticing that I have 2 pairs, but I have one that is left alone. So the number 5 is not all in pairs. I'm going to put it on that part of my table. What about the number 6? I'm noticing that 6 has 3 pairs. So 6 goes in this part of our table. How about the number 7? I'm noticing that 7 has 3 pairs, but 1 is left over or left on its own. So 7 is not all in pairs. Are you noticing a pattern? How about the number 8? For the number 8, I see 4 pairs. So 8 would go on this part of the table. It is all in pairs. Think about the number 9. I'm noticing that the number 9 has 4 pairs, but one number is not in a pair. So I'm going to put the number 9 on that part of my table. Is the number 10 all in pairs? Yes, I see 5 pairs. What about the number 11? The number 11 is not all in pairs. I see 5 pairs, but one is left alone. So the number 11 is not all in pairs. Whenever one of our smiley faces could be paired with another number, that could be called an even number. This side of my column showed even numbers. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. These were all even numbers because they could be made into pairs. When a smiley face could not be made into a pair, like I see here for 11, that's called an odd number. When I look at this part of my column, I see odd numbers because they were not all in pairs. So 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11 are all examples of odd numbers or numbers that are not in pairs. Now it's your turn to do some exploring. You and your partner are each going to put in a handful of pennies. That means 20 pennies each. You're going to take turns grabbing fistfuls of pennies and counting them. You need to decide, Are those pennies even or odd? To check, try to put your pennies into pairs. If all of your pennies can go into pairs, that means it's an even number. If they can't, that means it's an odd number. Write your answers on your whiteboards. Pause video now. Wow! What I noticed is I saw friends sorting even and odd numbers. I noticed even numbers like 40, 18, 22, 16, 24. I noticed some odd numbers like 13, 29, 21, 35, 17. When I looked carefully at these numbers, I noticed something else. I noticed that these even numbers ended with zeros, twos, fours, sixes, or eights. And I noticed the odd numbers ended in ones, threes, fives, sevens, or nines, just like I saw on the table before. Even numbers are counts of 2, starting with 0. So my even numbers are numbers like 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I'm counting by 2s there, and I notice that my pattern's repeating. So I see 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 0, 2, 4, 6. That lets me know that 18 would also be an even number because it ends in an 8. If you know an even number, you know the numbers that come before and after are odd numbers. I know the number 4 is an even number, which means the number 3 and the number 5 are both odd numbers. Think about when we skip count, or when we do our whisper and shout. The teacher usually says the odd numbers, like 1, and you usually shout the even numbers, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4, 6. They're even numbers, which means 1, 3, 5 are odd numbers. If you know an odd number like 7, you know its neighbors are going to be even. 6 and 8 are both even numbers. Do you think 1 is an even or an odd number? You're right. 1 is an odd number because it comes before 2, which is an even number. What about 0? 0 is an even number because it comes before 1, which is an odd number. I'm going to fill that into my table. I said 0 would be an even number, or a number that came in pairs, and I know that because it comes in front of 1, which is an odd number, or a number that is not all in pairs. Remember, even numbers end in the numbers 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, while odd numbers end in 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9. Keep this in mind when you go off to do your journal page today. Good luck!